So I know a wife who her husband fell in love with her in college. She's beautiful, sociable, fashionable, a lot of fun to be around. People used to say about her that any room she entered, she used to light it up. And at one point in their marriage, after they had children, she asked me, I didn't know her that well, but she asked me if I could come over and talk to her one day. She needed some advice. When I went to her home, I saw racks and racks of clothing in the living room. I saw the kitchen sink was piled high with dishes. I wasn't there to judge her. It was just something I noticed, to the point that I thought she was moving. I thought she was in the process of changing homes. And I asked her, oh, are you moving? She looked a little confused. She was like, moving? No. And so then she told me she wanted to talk to me because her husband was considering divorcing her. And she and her husband were in the process of trying to make things work. And what basically came out of what she shared with me is that her husband felt that he didn't matter to her, and that he realized that the home was not a priority to her. The state of their home was always in a state of mess. And one of the things he had said to her was, if I needed a clean undershirt, you wouldn't be able to find one for me. And she said, well, even a maid could find a clean undershirt. What does that have to do with anything? You and I have such a good time together. People love us. We have such great chemistry. We're in love. And what was coming out of what she shared with me was that it was clear that her husband's values were changing. He was initially attracted to her because she was beautiful and sociable and fun and exciting to be around. But now that they had been in the marriage a few years and had a number of children, he realized he needed more domestic support. He needed domestic bliss. He wanted his home to be a safe and comfortable and clean place that he could return to at the end of a long day of working, while she got to stay at home, and their values weren't aligning. And it wasn't completely her fault. It was, he didn't know what his values were when he met her. He thought his values were one, and then he realized he actually had other values that she wasn't able to match up with him. So people commonly fall into these 4 traps when it comes to values alignment. The first is that they don't know their own values and what's important to them. The second is they become too emotionally involved before they start discussing what their values are. Or in the case of the Muslim community, they let their families or their parents decide their values for them, tell them what's important and why they should be saying yes when their gut may be telling them no. The third is that they consciously avoid thinking about value conflicts because they want to preserve the chemistry that they're feeling. And the fourth is that they recognize there are value differences, but they naively believe love conquers all, or I can change him, I can change her. So those are the 4 common traps when it comes to values alignment. Now, some of you may know about this New York Times article that was published on December 17th, 2006. It was an article called Questions Couples Should Ask or Wish They Had Asked Before Marrying. And it covers these value-oriented topics. Number 1, bringing up children. Number 2, financial obligations and goals, spending and saving habits. Number 3, how the household is going to be run. Number 4, spiritual beliefs and needs. Number 5, religious and moral education for children. Number 6, boundaries with in-laws. Number 7, where to live. And number 8, commitment to the marriage. Now, I read about a couple who broke up after 2 years of being together because they realized that the only thing we had in common was that we liked Chinese food. So what you have to know is that interests are different from values and goals. You can share interests, but if values and goals aren't aligned, the relationship is not going to work. Now, I know of a young man, I want to give this real life example. He had only 3 values that he was looking for. Even though he was taught, he had the basics that many of us has. He was only talking to women who prayed 5 times a day, who covered, who were modest, who were educated, who came from good families, and who he was attracted to. That was the bare minimum of what he wanted. But above that, he had 3 values that were very, very important to him. The first was that he didn't want his wife to have a social media influencer lifestyle. He wanted a woman who did not post pictures and reels and videos of herself and her private life all over the internet or all over social media. The second was that he wanted a wife who had a very clear understanding, a clear stance on LGBTQIA issues. And he recognized that whoever he marries is going to help him raise his children. So he didn't want any confusion about what Islam teaches about that topic. Keep in mind, these 3 values that I'm sharing with you, they're not up for debate. These values were this young man's values, so I'm sharing them with you. And then the 3rd value that was important to him was that he didn't want whoever he married to be someone who subscribed to what he called toxic feminism. He was once in university and he opened the door for a young woman and the lady snapped at him, "I don't need men to open doors for me. I can open doors for myself." And he realized he did not want to be around that kind of energy. And even though he believed that men and women should have mutual respect and women should be educated, and if they want to work, they should be able to work, and he treated women with respect, he didn't want to marry somebody who thought of men as trash, who thought that men were the reasons for all the problems in the world, and who talked disrespectfully about men. And it took him a while, believe it or not, despite the fact that he was talking to practicing Muslim women, to find somebody who aligned with him on all 3 of those values. So these are the key questions you have to ask yourself in order to define what your values are. What are the 3 most important values that you want to give to your children? Then you want to list the top 5 areas that you invest your time and energy in. And then you want to ask yourself why. Is it at the gym? Is it at the mosque? Is it at your startup? Is it at a nonprofit? Is it with your family? Is it on social media? Ask yourself where you spend most of your time and energy and why. Another question you want to ask is, what are the 3 most important character traits everyone should develop? Then you want to name 3 role models and list what you admire about those 3 role models. Another question to ask yourself is, if you received $10 million that you could only donate, what causes would you choose to donate to? Ask yourself, what are 4 things that you want to be remembered about, that you want remembered about you after you die? You want to list 4 values without which a part of you would die. And then you want to name the 3 most memorable experiences in your life, and you want to identify what values came up for you in those experiences. Now I want you to imagine a bullseye. Okay, so we've got the center, then we've got a circle going around it, and then another circle going around it. So in the center, the target of the bullseye, the center is going to be values. Values are going to make up your foundation. Then the middle circle is going to be your goals. Goals are going to be built on your values. And then the outer circle are your interests. That's the least essential. So values are more essential than goals, and goals are more essential than interests. So I'll give you an example. 2 people might love coffee, and they might love the cafe culture, so they have a shared interest. Now they may decide that they want to open a cafe together as a business, so they have a shared goal. But if one person in that partnership is willing to take interest-bearing loans in order to open up a cafe, and the other one says, no, I'm not going to deal with riba, or if one person is willing to serve non-zabiha meat, right, non-halal meat, and the other says, no, I only want to serve 100% hand-slaughtered meat in our cafe, that shows that the 2 people don't share the same values, and there's going to be problems.